Hey, I'm Carmen, and welcome to Myo Life. That's short for My Outrageous Life, which is exactly the kind of life I get to live since I found the courage to ditch dental hygiene and build a life I'm bonkers about as a myofunctional therapist and entrepreneur. Here you will find all the things myo, business, and how to build a life that you too are bonkers about. I'm very happy you're here. Shall we dive in? Well, hello, friend, and welcome back to the Myo Life podcast. I am so stinking excited that you are here because we have a great show today. I am going to take you inside a course that I taught recently about, you guessed it, the Profitable Practice Framework, which is the exact step-by-step, easy peasy, follow the yellow brick road framework that I use to take dental hygienists from the operatory to their ultimate freedom, where they are working less, earning more, being in total control of their calendars, and enjoying geographic freedom to work from anywhere. Much like I am doing right now as I record this intro. I'm fresh off the plane, I'm sitting poolside, working on my vitamin D creation, enjoying my pina colada, and getting this podcast ready to go for you. So I don't want to delay my vacation any longer, so I'm going to drop you inside the class that I taught recently, and it's called What If It Could Work? A Step-by-Step Plan to Ditch Hygiene Without Starting Over, where you're going to learn just how easy the transition from dental hygienist to myofunctional therapist can be when you implement the profitable practice formula. Listen all the way through because you're going to learn the exact 6 steps of that framework. So without delaying any further, I'm going to drop you right inside that class. Enjoy. My friend, if you have ever stood in your operatory staring at the clock and thinking like, there is no way that I can do this for another 10, 20, 30 years, then I see you. Before we go any further, though, let me say this. If you are one of those rare unicorns who loves dental hygiene and you see yourself retiring with a scaler in your hand, I love that for you. But this class probably is not going to be the best use of your time. This class is for the dental hygienist who has quietly been questioning everything. The one who keeps asking, is this really it? The one who wants freedom and fulfillment and more money and a career that doesn't require them to sacrifice both their body, their joy, or precious time with their friends and family or kids and family, okay? If that's you, then this next 30 or 45 minutes, I don't know how long it's going to take, could change everything for you. So if you're still here, then I know that there is just something that's just niggling at you. You might love your patients. You might even love the people that you work with, but this job is grinding you down, body, brain, spirit. Every time you think about doing something else, though, your brain pipes up with things like, you don't have time, you can't afford it, you don't even know how you'd get clients, you don't even know if you like it, all of the things. Does this sound familiar? Maybe you have learned about Myo at a CE course. Maybe you've listened to podcasts. Maybe you're daydreaming about what it would look like if you walked away from the operatory, but you still do not have a real exit plan. And how exciting. That's going to end today. In this class, I am going to show you exactly how to use the skills that you already have to build a career that finally fits, okay? Without quitting your job, without starting from scratch, or having to guess your way through it. You are not stuck because you're doing anything wrong. You're stuck because nobody has ever handed you the roadmap, or they've never handed you an invitation to change it. So let's change that. First, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine waking up on Monday and choosing if when you went to work. Imagine that you run your own calendar, you work from home or wherever you are wanting to work from. You make more money than you ever did in hygiene, and you're not breaking your back or wrecking your back or your neck or your energy. That is the life that I get to live now. I am absolutely, unequivocally bonkers about my life. I enjoy ultimate freedom. Freedom from reporting to a job and helping somebody else build their golden parachute. Freedom from being behind in my savings for retirement. Freedom from wondering how I'm going to pay my debt because I don't have any. Freedom from wondering if I will be able to afford that vacation because I vacation about 8 to 12 times a year. Freedom from geographic restrictions, which means I can work from anywhere if I want. Okay, keyword there, if I want. I used to work while I was away on vacation and now I don't because I just don't have to. Freedom from having anybody but me dictate my calendar. That's absolute freedom. And most important, you guys, I have freedom from wearing hard pants, as I call it. Okay, because I'm pretty fond of my yoga pant habit. Love that. But when I started out, I was exactly where you are. I was burned out. I was sad. I was frustrated. I was unfulfilled. I was Googling alternative careers for dental hygienists like it was my full-time job. Now, I will tell you that all of that Googling did not give me a lot of the warm fuzzies. In the end, I didn't want to do any of those other things. I didn't want to do like research or sales. Like, no, thank you. I also didn't want to start over or go back to school. Okay, so I leveraged my license and the skills that I already had to build my profitable myofunctional therapy practice, 2 million in revenue and counting, by the way. And I fully retired from dental hygiene. So at this point today, I have helped so many people. So exciting. Now, this isn't just about chasing a dream. Okay, it's about using the skills, your brain, the smarts, the experience that you already have to build a business that works for you, to build a business around your life, however that is for you. Okay, not the other way around. That's not what I'm here for. I don't want to teach you how to build your life around your business. That's not a life you're going to be bonkers about. It's the other way around. And myofunctional therapy, it is not just a passing trend. It is a growing field, and there are not nearly enough trained therapists to meet the need. It is such an exciting time to get into the field because it is going bonkers. Old, antiquated thinking doctors are retiring, and the doctors that are buying their practices, these are cutting edge doctors. They're coming in. They know about myofunctional therapy because you cannot go to a conference these days without learning something about myo or tongue ties, airway focused orthodontics, sleep apnea, sleep disordered breathing. And guess what? These are all pillars of the important service of myofunctional therapy. Okay, so it is a golden opportunity for you. Not to mention, I get emails every week from people out in the wild that are saying, hey, I can't find somebody to work with me because they're not accepting new clients. Okay, that means opportunity for you. And especially if you build an online business, then you can help anybody anywhere. Okay, so now that you kind of have a feeling for what's possible, let me deliver on my promise that I promised to get you here, the step-by-step plan to ditch hygiene without starting over. Okay, so let's talk about the path to get from where you are now. I call this the profitable practice framework. There are 6 simple steps, also called stages. Okay, I walk you through every one. Okay, and you can do this at whatever pace fits your life. I do want to stress that ditch hygiene doesn't happen overnight. Okay. And it's not meant for you to have to do it tomorrow or next year for that matter. In fact, I just got off coaching with a student who has been with me for a year, and she really is wanting to take everything slow and do it just correct. So she is hoping that over, the next handful of months, she will have everything in line. So we each have our own time frame for ditching. Okay. I was a miserable dental hygienist and I wanted out as soon as possible. I set a 5-year goal, and after 2 months, I cut back to part-time, and then I retired 13 months later. You have no expectations from me on how fast you have to do this, okay? You're not answering to me. I have a lot of students who actually like hygiene. They just don't want to do it full-time, and they want to have some other option there, okay? Especially the option to earn more, work less, be in total control of their calendar, and work from anywhere. So as I teach you my profitable practice framework, just remember that on the right is the gas and on the left is the brake, and you're also driving. So you get to decide really what your pace is. Okay, so let's dive into the framework, and I'm going to spill the tea on exactly how you can use this process, this step-by-step plan to ditch hygiene. Okay, so step 1. So this is focus. This is where you should be learning all of your clinical foundations. Okay, this is going to be what is myofunctional therapy? What are orofacial myofunctional disorders? How to assess somebody? How to complete an exam? How to plan therapy? Plus, also, this is going to be key topics like mouth breathing, tongue ties, airway, sleep disordered breathing. This is where you're building the skills that you need to have, the skills that give you confidence, okay? In this stage, you're keeping it simple. You're keeping your eyes forward. Do not waste your time looking side to side to see what others are doing. This is going to stress you out. It's going to slow you down. There is no wrong way to build your business. The only wrong way is not starting. You probably have heard me say this before, but you can't steer a parked car. You got to get her in drive, and you got to put some pressure on the gas so that you can get things going, and so you can gauge how things are going, what's working, that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's 1. Step 2 is your structure. So in this step, you focus on learning Myo. Okay, and now you're going to be setting up the structure of your business. Again, we want to keep this simple. Okay, you're going to make some simple decisions about your business setup. You can even just operate as a sole proprietor, say that fast, which makes things even simpler. Okay, so boom, you're doing that. Remember, I am teaching you this framework because it's showing you how you're going to be able to ditch hygiene without leaving your job. Okay, also without starting over. Okay, so you're making some business decisions. Then you're going to decide who you want to work with. Do you love children? Do you really want to make a difference with children? Or do you know that you just really don't love working with children? Most new therapists, they just really want somebody with a pulse and a pulse, okay? But I was there too. But I want to help you simplify your marketing and your messaging so that you're not spinning your wheels about what to say or what you should create or anything like that. So you, in this stage, you should not be throwing all the spaghetti at the wall. You should be working on the process of attracting as many of your dream clients that you want to work with. Okay, so you've made decisions about your business. Who do you want to work with? Now, what will your offer look like? So this is more about price here. This is about the whole experience. When you just have a price rather than an experience, you turn yourself into a commodity like corn, like wheat. Okay, where in those situations, when you're a commodity, the sale goes to the lowest bidder essentially. So you do not want that. When you are simply based on price, that makes it easier for people to price shop and go with the cheapest. Okay, you don't want to be the cheapest. Think about it in the dental office when the person calls around, hey, how much do you charge for a perio maintenance? How much do you charge for a crown? How much do you charge for a filling? Those people don't care about anything but the price. Okay, you don't want to be a commodity. When you have an experience, and we call that a UME, or a unique myofunctional experience, there is no competition. There is no comparison, okay? You want your offer to be like comparing apples and orangutans, okay? You don't want to be a commodity. And then after you know who you're working with and what you're charging, then you're going to figure out how you're going to get paid. Now, again, in this stage, you get to keep this super simple. You can have somebody send you a check, okay? Or you can get a little bit fancier and you can set up a third-party system so that you don't have to play bill collector. You get to decide. Now, when I started my business, I wanted to build my business and set up things for the business that I was going to have someday, not the business, like the business that I was going to have, not where I was at. So I set up third-party systems from the beginning. I also never wanted the awkward conversation of trying to collect money. Wanted no part of it. I didn't want to be saying, oh, by the way, your exam's $225. Like, how do you want to pay me? I wanted people to determine that it was worth having an exam with me and that they would just pay. Still to this day, I just look at my calendar and I can see that these 10 people this week decided that I was worth the $225 for an exam, okay? So this stage 2, which is structure, it just gives you clarity, it gives you direction so you're not spinning, and also it prepares you for stage 3, or step 3, whatever you want to call it, which is earn, okay? In this step, you're going to earn money, okay? You're going to start bringing in income. We're keeping it simple here, okay? You're going to talk to people. You're going to tell them that you can help them. In stage 1, you learned about myo and orofacial myofunctional disorders and how to identify them, and here you're going to apply that knowledge. You already know who your who is, right? You know who your humans are. You know what your offer looks like, so you are ready to execute. So the key here is to start earning, however that looks for you. At this stage, it's not so much about a revenue goal. It's not about you saying, hey, I want to earn 100K, okay? It's about developing the skills that are necessary for you to create consistent revenue. I want you to follow this framework so that you don't have accidental revenue, so that you have consistent, sustainable revenue. That's called the business, okay? Step 4 is going to be repeat, okay? So here is where you get strategic, okay? In step 4, you're earning money. Then you got to evaluate, okay? You have to evaluate so you have data. You have to evaluate what's working and repeat it. This is how you stop reinventing the wheel and you start building momentum. So you are going to evaluate 3 things about the decisions that you have already made, okay? You're going to evaluate what's working, what's not working, and what you're going to do differently going forward. Here's what you're not going to do. You're not going to redecide. So many students that struggle or therapists that struggle, they don't get results fast enough, so they like burn everything to the ground and then they start over, or they think I have to charge less, okay? Or I have to change, I got to do something, I have to add more, all of those things. So no redeciding. I just said stop reinventing the wheel and start building momentum. You have to gather some data for a decent amount of time, like 3 to 6 months. I love my students to have 6 months of data before talking about redeciding, okay? So since this step is called repeat, you're going to repeat what's working. You're going to stop doing what's not working. You're not burning it to the ground. You don't need a different price. You don't need a different package. You don't need to try everything that everybody else is doing. You don't need to try to be everything to everyone. You just keep staying the course, okay? Keep turning the flywheel. Ask me how I know this, my friend. I have tried to be everything to everybody. I've tried every price point, all of that stuff. That's not what you need to do. All right, 5 is refine. So here you are now improving things, okay? You have earned money. You've repeated what works. You're starting to make things you're not earning revenue by accident. So now you're just getting things dialed in, okay? You're refining it. This is where you start to make more money in less time, okay? You'll improve your systems. You'll refine your pricing. And I don't mean refine it down. I mean, you're going to raise your prices if you haven't already, okay? You're going to create a smoother, more profitable client experience. This is the stage where it starts to feel lighter and more scalable, all of that stuff. And step 6 is evolve. So this is where you get to expand on your terms. You might create digital programs, or you might do, something that is more passive in income. You set up automations. You might even bring on help. So this is where I brought on my associate, was in step 6. Okay. So it's all about building a career. I've said this, that is fitting around your life. So it's funny because people always ask me, so in step 6, what do I do when I run out of hours? If you run out of hours and you have so many clients, your prices aren't high enough, and you then at that point need to be evolving your business, because it's you do not want to be working. I don't want to be working with clients 40 hours a week. So that is the plan. You're going to, let me go back to my notes. You're going to focus. You're going to, that's getting your Myo education. Then you're going to make some simple decisions on your business. Okay, like, am I going to operate as a sole proprietor, or do I want to set up an LLC? You're going to decide who you want to work with, what you're going to charge, how you're going to get paid. Okay, then you're going to earn. And then guess what? You're going to figure out your earning. You're going to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what you want to do differently. You're going to repeat, turn the flywheel. Okay, and then you're going to refine. You're going to make things better. You're going to do more of it. What works, what is getting results for you, do more of it. Make things better, automate, make things smoother. Then you're going to evolve. Okay, so that's the plan. And yes, it works. So now that you've seen the path, and I have shared with you how simple that it gets to be, let's talk about what usually stops people from taking that first step. You've thought about leaving hygiene. You've Googled alternative careers for dental hygienists. You have maybe even peeked at myofunctional therapy programs, okay? But you didn't move forward. So here's 3 of the biggies that I hear from people before they come study with me. So the first one is, you can probably guess it, is that I don't have time, which is totally fair because we are all busy. If somebody else controls your schedule, it's never going to feel like it's the right time. You're never going to feel like you have time. That is why this program is designed for people who are still working hygiene full time, okay? You get to do this in the margins of your life, as I call it. You are going to need 3 to 5 hours per week, okay? Plus some boundaries to make this happen. Can you do that? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Of course you can. And also, wouldn't you just know that I just happen to teach time management, organization, how to set boundaries. So I know a thing or two about this excuse. So here's how I built my business in the margins of my life when I was still working. And you can totally do it too. I worked 3 12-hour days as a hygienist. I commuted 3 hours each day. So I built my business around that. Okay, so on Mondays and Fridays. Then eventually, 2 months, I cut back to 2 days a week part-time, and I got a local job. So that saved me that commuting time. And then I did that. I worked part-time. I started my business. I built my business in the margins of my life. And then I retired from Hygiene 13 months later when we moved. Okay. So if you're going to do this, I want you to hit pause right now, and I want you to hop on over to your calendar and block out what I call power blocks. Okay. You need at least 3 hours. Better is if you can block out 5 hours per week right now. And if you're cringing about the time commitment, how are you going to run a profitable business if you don't have time for clients? Okay, not gonna work. This time that you're blocking on your calendar, it's your tiger time, okay? And you are going to protect it like Mama Tiger. No excuses. All right, the second excuse I hear is I can't afford it. I hear that, yes. And I get it. Investing in yourself feels scary. But you are already paying in so many other ways, okay? In burnout, in missed weekends, in resentment, in aches and pains, and headaches and tension and backaches and neck, all of the things. What if this is the thing that actually pays you back, okay? I love this part. Let's do some Myo math so you can see the return on your investment, and then we'll talk about your freedom number so that you can find the free time to build your business. So grab a pen, pencil, whatever, some paper, so that you can make some chicken scratches, okay? This is gonna help you see what's possible, even in a worst case scenario, okay? And it totally, in my humble opinion, makes the investment in my program an absolute no-brainer. Okay, so my price for therapy is $5,000. I sell that package over and over to people lined up waiting to pay in full without insurance. I don't accept insurance. So it is totally possible. Let me just put that out there. But let's assume that you're not going to start with my prices, okay? And also, most of my students start out offering a discounted rate when they're just starting out. So let's use 25% of my rate for 3 clients. And then you'll have to get your calculator and do some math here. And then 50% for 3 clients. And then 75% for 9 clients. So that's a total of 15 clients. Do the math. My friend, that is $45,000. That is almost 5.5 times your investment in the program. And you get skills that you get to use for a lifetime. I would gladly pay $8,000 for $45,000 any day of the week. Right? At this point, I have traded my investment for millions. Okay. Again, I'm not a financial analyst here, but I'm saying that's a pretty good return. Okay. So let's talk about your freedom number. So what is a freedom number? Your freedom number is just what amount of money you have to earn to just barely pay the bills. Not barely, but to pay the bills. Okay. So it's not your forever budget. It's just what could you get by with? So to figure that out, you're going to look at your legitimate bare bones expenses, nothing fancy. Okay. Can you refinance any of those finances? Can you cut back? You know, for some people, it's like, well, I'm going to quit getting my nails done, or I'm going to quit that $10 a day Starbucks habit, that kind of stuff. That's what I mean by refinancing your finances. So get your number. Say it's $3,000 or whatever. Figure out what that number needs to break down to in terms of hours, okay? And then the reason I call it your freedom number is because often many of my students or many of my business coaching clients, they find out that they're working a 40-hour-a-week job. They have this other dream on their heart. They want to do something else. They got to get some free time on the calendar. And their freedom number tells them that they could get by on 15 hours a week. So if you're working 40 hours a week and you only need to be working 15, then that gives you some free time. How exciting. Now, this also isn't forever, okay? I'm not asking you to cut back, or I'm not recommending that you cut back on everything forever, because first of all, if your number is that low, then your dreams are not big enough. But can you cut back so that you can buy time to build your business? Okay. So do that. Do some myo math, figure it out. If you're married and you only need to bring in, 10 hours worth of work, then by golly, don't be working a full-time job. That exercise, finding your freedom number, is always so eye-opening for students. Okay, and then the third one is, where would I even find clients? Okay, you do not know this yet, but your easy peasy dreamy customers, they're everywhere. They just don't know you yet. Okay. Of course, I teach you exactly how to do this, but for simplicity's sake right now, you are in proximity with people who mouth breathe, or have digestive issues, or don't sleep well. And these people will pay any amount of money to fix the problem, okay? You're going to find your client in a few ways. Number one, by telling people, I can help you, and having conversations with them. Number two, by getting results for your clients. People talk when you get results for them, and now they sleep better, they feel better, they're losing weight because they don't have digestive issues, all that stuff. They breathe better, and they're going to tell everybody about it. My friend, this is free marketing, okay? So that is the best way to get business, is get amazing results for your clients, okay? Kind of like when somebody's losing weight. Everybody wants to know the name of the person who's helping Susie look fantastic. They're everywhere. You can have as many clients as you want. All right, my friends, that's the T. That is the step-by-step plan to ditch hygiene, okay? So I want to tell you this. If this class has lit something up inside of you and reminded you that you want more, and that it might actually be possible to build a profitable myofunctional therapy business, then let me tell you about the next step. You've probably heard me talk about it before, the Ditch Hygiene Academy. And this is the exact program that I wish I had when I was burned out, exhausted, and when I was Googling, what else can a dental hygienist do, okay? It's not just a course. This is a complete step-by-step system to help you transition from clinical hygiene into a flexible, profitable career in myofunctional therapy without going back to school, having the tech overwhelmed, figuring it out on your own, or ditching hygiene like tomorrow, okay? Even if you only have 3 to 5 hours a week to offer, okay? Whether you want to ditch hygiene entirely or just cut back on your hours and have other options for some of that freedom, this program is going to help you do that. So I created it for hygienists who are burned out and just want out, okay? Or those who still kind of like hygiene, but they want to do something else. Those who are craving freedom, but they're scared of failing. And those who are ready to learn, be supported, and want to build a life that they're bonkers about. They want to build a life or a business around their life, okay? So if that's you, then I would be honored to walk alongside you. Your investment, I've alluded to this before, your investment in the program is going to be $8,500 or $12,000, depending upon whether you choose the Done With You program or the Done For You program. I always tell my students, you get to invest time or money, and this is a great example. So in the Done For You program, my team and I do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So we're going to brand your documents and write copy, work on your website, set up your tech. You're going to get hard copies of all your books and textbooks and the software and all of that stuff. So that's the students who come in the Done For You program, like they want launch in a box. They want my team and I to do that work for them. You will want to make sure to consider the amount of time that you have to invest before you decide to save the few $1,000s. The link to enroll wherever you're watching this will take you to a comparison table. So I'm not going to go through all of that stuff, but more so, I just want you to be aware of that, because I have had students that say, oh my gosh, I spent so much time. I should have spent that additional money and just like let the pros do it. So now you might be wondering, like, but Carmen, isn't this kind of expensive? Yep, it is. Literally, somebody commented that earlier this morning that this is way too much for me. And you know what? They're not wrong. $8,000 is not pocket change. But here's the deal. I could have made it cheaper. I could have stripped out all of the essential clinical lessons. Okay. I could have stripped out the 25 behind the scenes videos of seeing me do therapy for people who like to visually learn. Or I could have stripped out the 6 examples of watching me do exams. I could have stripped out the business strategy that actually teaches you to get clients. I could have stripped out the adult case studies or the child case studies, or how to actually build your business or set up the 7 key systems that you need in your business. That's the client intake system, the client booking system, the tracking system, your payment system, your client interaction system, financial tracking system, and your metrics system. I could have stripped that all out. I could have stripped out teaching you the exact photos and videos that you need for an exam. I could have stripped out the advanced clients lesson, or the profitable pricing lab, or the business case studies. Or how about the lesson that's taught by a lawyer who teaches you exactly how to legally launch your business? I could have stripped out how to plan your content, or teaching you how to market on social media, because yes, in this day and age, you have to know how to market on social media. I could have stripped out the Myo Money program and the software that teaches you how to run the entire financial system of your business and have money to pay yourself and have money to pay the quarterly taxes, rather than just being like, oh snap, okay? No good. I could have stripped out the lessons on search engine optimization. That's how people find your website, is by search engine optimization. I could have stripped that out. I could have stripped out helping you with your website or setting up your brand voice. I could have stripped out how to use AI, how to use Google Analytics, okay? That might not seem important to you right now, but that Google Analytics helps you have data to evaluate, okay? I could have stripped out the entire tech library with over 25 tech videos so that you're not overwhelmed, or 2 years of coaching archives so that you can learn from other students. Or I could remove the live quarterly training events, or the Friday coaching, or the document swipe file. This is a biggie. The document swipe file means you get permission to use all of my written material and brand it for your own. So my stuff is copyright protected, okay? But when I give you the document swipe file, instead of giving you a PDF example or just showing you something, I give you the Word document or the Google Doc so that you can copy and paste and add your logo and make sure it has your personality, and you're good to go. Talk about saving time. Document swipe file. I could have removed the annual update. So every year I do an update. It's kind of like the state of the business, state of the course, you know, what's working in my business, what I changed, what I recommend, all of that stuff. I do an annual update every year. I could have removed the one-on-one coaching with me that you get every month, or the access to the Ditcher Lounge where all the cool cats hang out. The thing I love about the Ditcher Lounge is you can learn from the other students who have gone through the program. They are great resources, okay? They might be using a different software. They might be using a different camera. They might have bought a different microphone. They might be using just something else, or they might have a different way to troubleshoot something. They are such a great source of knowledge. I don't think I know it all, and I don't think that my way is the only way. These other students that are also running successful businesses, they are so helpful to learn from. I also could have cut out the mentorship, okay, or the apprenticeship where I work with you and your first client, okay? I could have just left it for you to figure it all out on your own. But then it would have been just another cookie cutter training, okay? And I refuse to create something that puts my name on it, that leaves you overwhelmed, unsure, still wondering how you're going to figure out what the heck to do with all the knowledge, okay? The Ditch Hygiene Academy, I will tell you this, it is over 100 hours of carefully built content. Not because I wanted to bury you in information, but because I want you to walk away knowing exactly how to think, how to apply, and succeed as a confident myofunctional therapist, okay? I don't want you to walk away with more questions than answers, like what my students who've taken other programs, that's what they feel like, okay? I want you to be able to think critically and to be confident in your knowledge. You have to be able to apply this or it's worthless, okay? The cheap program teaches you the content and how to throw all the spaghetti at the wall in hopes of what might work, okay? You can try this, you can try this, you can try this, you can try this. I teach you how to think and make that knowledge work for you, and how to follow the framework that I just shared with you so that you have consistent, sustainable revenue, not just earning money by accident. That is the difference between information and transformation, okay? Both for you, and it's going to be the same for your clients as well. This also leads me to a thought that I wanted to share with you, and it's about money mindset. If you're jumping right to the, oh my God, this is so expensive, might I remind you that you're going to be asking your clients to invest in you. And your prices, I encourage you to have premium pricing. Like, you're asking them to invest in you. You will be a mirror to your client. So if you don't think people can afford to pay you for your services, you're going to be correct. And they're going to believe you, and they're not going to pay you, okay? So I always tell people, especially the people that are like, whoa, this is expensive. I'm like, yep. And I'm worth it, and you're going to be expensive, and you're going to be worth it, okay? So when I'm asking you to come study with me in an expensive program and make an investment in yourself, you should, okay? Let's wrap up about the program. It's comprehensive, okay? So it's about more than just exercises, you guys. You learn to connect the dots and apply them with clients. Absolutely. Okay. You're not drinking from a fire hose. I'm not just giving you the information and then being like, okay, have fun. So it's comprehensive. It's strategic. I want you to grow a business that works around your life. Okay. Burnout doesn't serve anybody. If you're burned out, your clients are going to suffer. Okay. It's mentorship based. You're not alone. We walk through you with every step. It is also designed for working hygienists, so it's flexible and it's doable even with your current schedule, and it's high touch, okay? I think it is a very small price for such big support. So all that to say, yeah, it's not cheap. And that's okay. It is a career-changing investment, and one that is going to pay you back over and over and over again in your lifetime as a myofunctional therapist. So if you are ready to go beyond information into that transformation, then the next step is very simple. And wherever you're watching this, you're going to have the link to join me inside the Ditch Hygiene Academy. Also, when you enroll with me, this month, you get access to the supported September sprint. So this is an exciting bonus that really just steps up the support that you have in the final quarter of the year. Extra accountability, structured support, more help from me. to get you completed through that first stage. Remember, that first stage was to be focused, okay? So that's when you're learning all the things. So the sprint is to get you through that by December so that you are ready for paying clients come January, okay? So obviously September comes once a year, so this offer only comes once a year. So if you are ready to get started, then wherever you're watching the video, there's this link. If you're not sure yet, that's okay too. I taught you my framework, okay? Use it. Just don't stay stuck, because here's what I know. Fear is very expensive, and staying in a job that costs you so much more than investing in the right career, that's even more terrible. So I'm going to leave you with this. You don't need more time. You need a decision. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to feel willing. Okay? That first step. Like what's that saying about you don't see the whole staircase, you just see the first step? That is exactly it. So the last thing I want to leave you with to ponder is, what if it could work? What if it could work for you? You should come find out with me inside the Ditch Hygiene Academy. I'm going to be waiting there to lead you, coach you, and provide you all the support. All right, let's land this plane, okay? I have no idea how long this was. I said 30 to 45 minutes. Hopefully we're within that time frame. I hope you got something out of this. That is the biggest thing. I think my biggest regret is that I just didn't do it sooner. That was mine. Everybody has their own. So just remember, Ditch Hygiene Academy does not mean that you have to do it tomorrow. You get to control the gas, you get to control the brake. I am here, my team is here to support you on the journey, whatever your pace is, okay? So there's never ever going to be any shaming with your pace. I just think that it's important that you identify, like, I want something different. Like I said, maybe that is fully leaving hygiene. Maybe you just want something to kind of breathe some fresh air in. Maybe you just want to do part-time hygiene and have the ability to earn more money and be able to work from anywhere. It's your recipe, okay? It's your cookbook. You get to decide. I would just be honored to welcome you into the program and help you experience this amazing career that I am so in love with, and build a life that you are absolutely bonkers about. So thank you for being with me and hanging out here. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. I am rooting for you on your journey. OMG, that was so much fire. Gosh, I really don't have a lot to say because I feel like I left it all on the field. But I will say this, if you are listening to this in real time, you have just a few more days to take advantage of that amazing September only bonus. Let me come alongside you and give you some extra support to get you through stage 1 and get you ready for your first paying client in January. That's all I have for you today, my friend. Until next time, go build a life you are bonkers about, and I will be back soon with more myofunctional business goodness.